In a small town, there was an old antique store known for its peculiar items and unsettling history. The owner, Mr. Anderson, had been running the shop for decades and had collected numerous items with strange and eerie backgrounds. One day, a young woman named Sarah visited the store out of curiosity. She was drawn to an ornate mirror that Mr. Anderson claimed was a rare and haunted relic. He shared a chilling story about the mirror, saying that it had been used in séances by a previous owner, and those who gazed into it sometimes saw unsettling visions. Sarah, intrigued by the story, purchased the mirror. She took it home and placed it in her bedroom. That night, as she lay in bed, she noticed a faint, ghostly figure reflected in the mirror. It was a woman in Victorian-era clothing, her face pale and her eyes empty. Terrified, Sarah turned on the lights, and the apparition disappeared. Over the next few weeks, Sarah's nights were filled with ghostly occurrences. She heard whispers and footsteps in her room, and the mirror's reflection would often show the same ghostly woman, her expression growing more sinister each time. Unable to endure the haunting any longer, Sarah returned to the antique store and demanded answers from Mr. Anderson. He revealed that the mirror was, in fact, cursed, and the only way to break the curse was to return it to the store. Desperate to be free of the torment, Sarah did just that. Upon returning the mirror, the store's atmosphere seemed to shift. Mr. Anderson thanked her and assured her that the mirror would trouble her no more. She left the store, and from that day on, the antique shop remained eternally locked, its eerie items sealed within, never to be sold again. With the cursed mirror returned to the antique shop, Sarah hoped that the haunting would come to an end. However, as she left the store and turned to look back one last time, she noticed an eerie and knowing smile on Mr. Anderson's face. It sent shivers down her spine, and she couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to the story than she had been told. For weeks, Sarah couldn't forget about her ordeal. She researched the antique shop's history and discovered that Mr. Anderson had been the sole owner for as long as anyone could remember. There were no records of any previous owners or the mysterious Victorian mirror. Sarah's curiosity got the better of her, and she decided to return to the store one fateful night. As she approached the store, she noticed an unusual glow emanating from within. The door, which had been locked and sealed earlier, now stood slightly ajar. Sarah cautiously entered and found the antique shop transformed into a realm of darkness and shadow. The objects that had once been lifeless now seemed to pulse with malevolence. Desperate to unravel the mysteries of the store, Sarah delved deeper into its depths. She discovered a hidden back room, filled with an assortment of even more bizarre and sinister objects. As she examined them, a sinister voice echoed through the room, revealing the chilling truth. Mr. Anderson had been a collector of cursed items for generations, each one with a dark and malevolent history. He had used them to accumulate wealth and power at the cost of countless souls. Suddenly, the room became suffocating, and Sarah realized that the cursed items were closing in on her. She fled the back room, but it seemed like the entire store had come alive, with spectral figures and malevolent forces lurking in every corner. As she reached the exit, the cursed mirror once again caught her eye, and the ghostly woman from her bedroom appeared within. This time, the apparition reached out, its icy hand gripping Sarah's wrist. In a panic, she used all her strength to tear herself away from the mirror's grasp, and with a final scream, she escaped the haunted antique shop. Sarah never returned to that place, and it was said that she was forever haunted by the memories of that dreadful night. The antique shop, with its malevolent treasures, remained locked and untouched, serving as a dark warning to those who might be tempted by its sinister allure. And so, the haunted antique shop stood as a relic of the past, a place where dark secrets and cursed objects were sealed away, a testament to the price one might pay for dabbling with the supernatural. In the heart of a bustling city, there was a quaint, antique store known as Whitman's Wonders. It was renowned for its collection of vintage curiosities, and every item within its walls had a story to tell. But there was one item, a music box, that held a particularly sinister tale. The music box was an exquisite piece, encased in a rich mahogany frame with delicate, hand-painted details. Its hauntingly beautiful melody could enchant anyone who listened to it. Legend had it that the music box had been discovered in an old, abandoned mansion, hidden away in the attic for generations. The previous owner had been a reclusive musician who was said to have gone mad, and the music box was rumored to have driven him to the brink of insanity. One day, a young woman named Emily entered Whitman's Wonders. She had always been drawn to the macabre and mysterious, and the music box immediately caught her eye. Its dulcet tones seemed to beckon her closer, and she couldn't resist its enchantment. She purchased the music box and brought it home, placing it on her bedside table. That night, as the room fell into darkness, Emily was startled awake by the faint sound of music. She gazed at the music box, and to her amazement, it had begun to play on its own. The melody was haunting and melancholic, and as it filled the room, she couldn't help but feel a sense of foreboding. Over the following nights, the music box continued to play at the stroke of midnight, its tune growing more haunting with each passing day. Emily would wake to find the room filled with an eerie, otherworldly light, and shadows danced on the walls as if they had a life of their own. One evening, as the music box played its haunting melody, Emily watched in horror as a ghostly figure emerged from within. It was the same musician who had owned the box in the past, his face twisted in anguish. He reached out towards Emily, his eyes filled with torment. Frightened and desperate to break the curse, Emily returned to Whitman's Wonders, seeking answers from Mr. Whitman, the store's enigmatic owner. He told her that the music box was cursed, and the only way to free the tormented musician's spirit was to return the box to the attic of the abandoned mansion where it was found. Emily followed his instructions, making the perilous journey to the decaying mansion in the dead of night. With the music box in hand, she ascended the creaking stairs to the attic, where the musician's anguished spirit waited. As she placed the music box in its original resting place, the ghostly figure reached out once more, but this time, his expression softened into a faint smile. With a sigh of relief, Emily left the mansion, and as she descended the stairs, she could hear the music box's tune growing fainter and fainter, as if it were fading into the distance. The curse had been broken, and the mansion was finally at peace. From that day forward, the music box remained silent, and Whitman's Wonders continued to attract those seeking the mysteries of the past, reminding all who entered that some relics held dark secrets and should be approached with caution. In a small, picturesque town, nestled among rolling hills, there stood an antique store named Thompson's Treasures. The shop was known for its collection of unique and often peculiar items from a bygone era. Among these items, there was a seemingly innocent porcelain doll that harbored a chilling secret. The doll, with its lustrous blue eyes and curly golden hair, had a presence that seemed to draw people in. Its appearance was that of a cherubic child, but there was an unsettling aura that surrounded it. It was said to have been discovered in the attic of a Victorian-era mansion, and the previous owner had met a tragic end under mysterious circumstances. One sunny afternoon, a young couple, Sarah and David, visited Thompson's Treasures. They were avid collectors of vintage items and were immediately captivated by the porcelain doll. It was as if the doll's eyes followed them as they moved around the store. They decided to purchase it and brought it home to their cozy cottage. As the days passed, strange occurrences began to plague the couple. They heard faint giggles in the middle of the night and discovered the doll in different places each morning, as if it had moved on its own. More disturbingly, they woke to find tiny handprints on their windows and whispered voices in the darkness. Sarah, increasingly unnerved, decided to do some research into the doll's history. She uncovered a local legend about a child who had died under mysterious circumstances in the mansion where the doll was found. The child's spirit was said to be trapped within the doll, and it was believed to be cursed. Fearing for their safety, Sarah and David returned to Thompson's Treasures to consult with Mr. Thompson, the store's owner. He confirmed the doll's dark history and revealed that the only way to break the curse was to return it to the mansion where it was discovered. With a heavy heart, Sarah and David made the journey to the old mansion. The place was overgrown and abandoned, its atmosphere heavy with an eerie silence. As they entered the attic, they placed the doll on a dusty shelf. Suddenly, a soft, melancholic lullaby filled the room, and the ghostly figure of a child appeared, looking at them with tear-filled eyes. As the final notes of the lullaby drifted away, the doll's porcelain face cracked, and the child's spirit was released. The couple watched as the ghostly figure dissipated, finally finding peace. Sarah and David left the mansion, knowing they had broken the curse and freed the tormented spirit. Thompson's Treasures continued to attract collectors seeking unique items from the past, serving as a reminder that even the most innocent-looking relics could hide chilling secrets, waiting to be uncovered.